Hello. Welcome to the Pinfall Podcast, where I am your host, Liz. And I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Marcus. Hello, Marcus.
Hello, it is me, Marcus.
How are you today?
Oh, another Monday, another torture.
God, I know. I started falling asleep towards the end of it, and I was like, this probably isn't great.
I started falling asleep in the beginning. I had to have a cup of coffee.
I feel like the beginning is the best place to start falling asleep, though. Because, like, you get time to fix yourself. It's
Yeah,
falling at the end. Like,
but oh, you froze. You froze real bad.
knowing my luck today, I'm going to freeze at least 40 more times.
Okay. You got anything running in the background that you might want to close out? Maybe Bluetooth?
No? I guess I can close out a Bluetooth.
Um,
He's doing anything for me.
but you're also assuming that there was anything in the later half that was to look forward to at all.
Oh, there's a cat. Don't bite me. Um, I mean, there was some stuff in the second half that like wasn't horrible. We can at least admit that.
There were some 4-star matches in there. Two 4-star matches.
I don't know, man.
Out of the 8 matches today, 2 were 4-star. 1 was 3-star, and the rest were 2 and lower.
I think that they need to embrace the idea of fewer matches, more promos.
Less than
Please.
3 hours.
Well, I'm trying to work with what we've got.
They also need to embrace actually giving finishes to matches. Oh,
Where's the
God.
drama, Mark? Where's the drama?
Well, to kind of sum up today's Raw, besides it being just another Raw, we got Kofi solidified as a potential contender for the WWE title. He had a match with Bobby Lashley that was a match with Drew McIntyre that was interrupted, and we'll be getting a rematch next week. Yes.
Do you think those interrupted because they don't actually know what they want to do as far as like who's gonna win?
No, it was probably interrupted because it's so far out from Hell in a Cell. Hell in a Cell is June 13th.
I feel like they just genuinely don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Vince probably rewrote some shit.
Possibly.
But yeah, that rematch is happening next week. We had a rematch between Natty and Tamina, Shayna and Nia for the tag team title. That
How many
was.
matches did we have that weren't rematches?
Let's find out.
Or reiterations in some form?
Well, let's see. Drew versus Kofi was not a rematch.
Okay.
It was a rematch from like I think 2015 or something.
That
But
doesn't count.
yeah. Rhea versus Nikki. Glad they gave Nikki Cross a 2-minute match.
I'm trying to
Charlotte
see the bright sides with that.
Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. That was a rematch.
Okay.
Shelton versus Cedric. That was a rematch. Riddle versus Xavier. That's not a rematch, but that's like their tag team thing that they do where they like the next set in the tag teams fights. It's part of their
Okay.
formula. AJ versus Riker. I think that was a rematch.
I don't know what match you're talking about.
It's basically a continuation off of last week's with AJ versus Elias. Sheamus versus Umberto. That was a rematch. And then Natty and Tamina versus Shayna and Nia. That was a rematch.
Were you counting on that?
No. Let me officially count. Charlotte and Asuka, Cedric and Shelton. Are we counting Xavier and Riddle?
No, because that's technically. I feel like that's different because that's like singles.
Okay, then Umberto and Sheamus, and Natty and Tamina versus Shayna and Nia. So half of the matches today were rematches.
Jesus.
And how many of them actually had finishes? Let's see. Kofi and Drew, non-finish. Would you count Nikki and Rhea as a finish?
Yeah.
Okay.
It fulfilled the stipulation.
Um, the AJ Styles match kind of had a non-finish. It was interrupted. Non-finish or interrupted. And then Natty and Tamina, Shayna and Nia, that was interrupted. So 3 out of the 8.
Jesus.
Sheamus and Umberto, I kind of want to count. But I know that wasn't really interrupted.
Well,
So, you want to get into the news?
yeah, I guess we could do that.
It is worth noting, I know it's kind of assumed, but Nikki Cross made her return to Raw today, and it was in a 2-minute beat the clock match. I'm fine with the beat the clock thing. That's fine. I wish they would have just given her like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I get that. I'm not mad entirely because, like, I'm glad Nikki came back. I'm glad this maybe does something to put Nikki over and then also not make Rhea look like a fucking idiot.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know a lot of people are kind of pissed about this, so.
Yeah. Denise Salcedo, I think, said it best. I think you disagree, but she said that this doesn't get anybody over. And it doesn't put anybody down.
I think the thing was it's like bring Nikki just back into the main roster scene.
Right, but at
Which
least
I feel like at this point we're scratching for like such little like things at the end of the day that it's like victory, technically victory.
at least treat her like they treat like Ricochet or Umberto, where
Yeah,
they'll lose the match, but they'll look fucking great while
you make
doing
a
it.
good point because Nikki really. I mean, we'll talk about it, but Nikki really didn't get any like good hits in either.
Yeah, she got very little offense. I mean, how much can you get in a 2-minute match? Like most of those 2 minutes were being taunted by Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll discuss it. Let's get into the news, which we have a bit of news.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just scroll all the way up to the top of my fucking notes because there's so. So let's see. Okay. First things first. New Japan has problems. Big
More?
problems. Yeah. First things first. It's looking kind of like Will Ospreay may not have actually hurt his fucking neck. It may have just been a cop out because management like didn't know what to do and they needed him to drop the title. Because of COVID and shit like that. Which, speaking of, um, Taichi and Okada both have COVID.
Uh-huh.
Which those aren't small names.
Of
So,
course.
yikes. It's just kind of fucking wild to me that they're having this many problems this late in the game when they were doing really well, it seemed.
Well, they were shut down for a while, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's why they were doing really well. I'm also probably gonna have to pull this back at least 40 more times.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, as far as non WWE news goes, Andrade has a new opponent. He's going to be fighting El Hijo del Santo. I don't know in what. He's going to be fighting at La Batalla. I took 1 year Spanish, so they have a match on June 12th. So, and it's going to be in Anaheim, in the area.
In the area.
Let's talk about some WWE news. First things first. So many things. Half of them are fun and half of them are, oh god. First thing is Hell in a Cell is apparently being drastically changed. The specific details are not quite clear, but the full card has yet to be finalized, and apparently what has been decided on, I think as far as Cesaro is concerned, and the Drew McIntyre Bobby scene is part of that drastic change.
Oh, I know exactly what they're doing for that. Oh, I know. What? Think about it. Their return to touring, their first pay-per-view in that touring set, second pay-per-view in a live crowd. Kofi's winning that title.
But that's not Hell in a Cell.
Right. It all depends on whether Drew's going to win it off Bobby at Hell in a Cell or if Bobby's going to keep it at Hell in a Cell. And the way they're spinning it seems like Drew could be like a heelish face. They could do it that way, or just keep it with Bobby. That'd be a sick main event.
It's hard to see him as anything but a heel right now because I'm just so fucking annoyed with him.
Oh yeah, everybody is. I mean, he's so, like, the whole storyline is that he's fucking entitled.
Dude, Kofi came out and he was like, no one wants to see you wrestle Bobby again. And I was like, Jesus Christ, so they're self-aware at least.
And then Drew came out and was like, everyone knew I was gonna come out. It's like, yes, that is the problem.
There's a part of me that hopes that he's just sitting there like, I don't want to do this. I don't really hope.
But either main event of Money in the Bank, whether it's Drew and Kofi or Bobby and Kofi, will be a fantastic match. And the fact that we have that storyline now that Kofi has not gotten his WWE title rematch yet for, what, 3 years now?
Yeah, I think it's about 3 years.
Good story.
In addition to crowds coming back, John Cena might be coming back, like we talked about briefly. But it's looking like because his post-production stuff for Peacemaker, that all those responsibilities are ending July 6th.
Okay.
So John Cena is technically free on July 16th. Or, better yet, July 18th, probably.
I'm sure. Are those his responsibilities are ending then, or just the post-production in general is ending then? Because if it's in general...
It says here he's likely to have post-production responsibilities for Peacemaker, but he'll be able to travel out of Canada and into the U.S. once the production is over on July 6th.
Okay.
So, I'd love to see how they would bring him back, and I really hope that they would keep it in the vein of Firefly Funhouse. Like, if they don't, I'm going to be mad.
Yeah. Because that match was huge for his career. Whether just like from a storyline perspective, that match like really altered his... I heard that. But that match like forever altered his storyline in kayfabe. So it'd be kind of fucked up not to bring it up.
Yeah. Being assaulted over here verbally.
I hear you. I hear it. I also have a piece of news, real quick. You want me to bring it up? It's an injury update.
Bring it up.
Alright, so the other day, Enzo Amore was injured at an indie show. He was DDT'd into concrete, into pavement, and was knocked unconscious. An update from today reveals that he is recovering and out of the hospital. And the injury was sustained at just an indie show.
Good for him. I'm glad he's okay.
They gotta stop doing spots on like fucking concrete. Like, my god. Or at least, I don't know, tuck the head or something.
You'd hope. Speaking of people who sustained injuries to the cranial region, we finally know why Mr. Edge is not on TV, and lo and behold, it is because he has signed a part-time contract, more or less like one of those Legends contracts, so.
Oh, did he? After saying that he was full-time now? Oh, it's almost like I could read through his bullshit.
This is why I didn't want to bring up this story.
Whenever in kayfabe someone says that they're in it full-time, and they have to tell you they're in it full-time, they're not in it full-time.
Anywho, speaking of people who aren't on TV, do you like my segues, by the way?
Yeah, you're trying. You're trying.
Keith Lee. There was a rumor going around, which I'm glad I didn't fucking hear it. There was a rumor going around that he was released. But he was not. At this point, nobody knows what the fuck is going on with him. Apparently, the rumor started because outside of the fact that he just hasn't been around. A fan asked him like what the future holds for him, and he said only time will tell. And then at one point, the longer response was, good question. Unfortunately, only time will tell, my friend. So he's not helping his case in this. I'm still convinced that he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I hope not.
Yeah. I mean, he's still constantly giving updates, telling people to just hang tight. Like he said one, I think it was today that he tweeted. I scrolled past it. Keith Lee, show me Keith Lee. Okay. He said, to the people offering uplifting words, know that I appreciate you greatly and worry not when I say hashtag I am limitless. I mean it. I will try to find a way to explain everything in the most efficient way possible. Give me just a little more time. Everything is so vague. What is going on?
Makes me worried for him, like in a very deep sense of the word.
And like Mia Yim seems like perfectly fine. Like she's shopping for her wedding dress and everything. Like,
Well, the idea of like Mia Yim's like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this, and Keith's just sitting in a corner at home, like
he's like in Vince McMahon's dungeon.
Isn't the Firefly Funhouse?
It might be some big reveal for WWE. Like maybe he's like working off a ton of weight or something.
I mean, I don't think he needs to do that though.
I don't think so either, but like it seems like it's something that needs to be held under wraps, because otherwise he'd tell us, like if it was an injury, he'd be like, oh, okay, I'm injured, or I have an illness, hang tight, you know? I don't know.
Maybe. Just to continue my segue-a-thon over here. Speaking of being released, apparently there are more releases to come. We just got our first batch of them last week, when everybody from EJ and Duca to some Orange Referee, all of them were released. But apparently there's more to come. Apparently it's NXT UK talent that might be on the chopping block this time, which I don't know how they're going to do that because they've got like 5 people over there.
I heard NXT UK was also going to be setting up call-ups.
It's just so bullshit to me that they're like, oh, it's for the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fuck you. It's not
Um,
for the budget.
yeah. It's the budget to bring back Brock Lesnar.
In theory, if your goal is to increase the budget, it's for the budget. But if the budget is not already increased by every other thing that you guys have been doing, I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, and speaking of releases, anybody wants to spend at least like 30 minutes of their time fucking rubbing the bridge of their fucking nose. Velveteen Dream addressed um, the accusations against him in a manner that was not only unhinged, but also unhinged. Uh, a lot of it was him talking about these young men that have accused him of things and being like, well, I was very like kind and helpful to them. I helped mentor them. I read like bits and pieces of different paragraphs and I
Allegedly.
was like, you're children online.
Even if it was just allegedly him saying like giving tips on like coming up in the wrestling biz, they were worded as like you got to show your dick more.
What's your height and weight and like what school do you go to? And I was like he admitted to asking these questions and I was sitting there and I was like, maybe it's just because like we grew up in an era where our parents were like, so help me God, if you put your name online you're going to be tracked down and killed. But if a person asked me all that stuff, I'd be calling the police. So if you have time and you want to just have your mind fucking boggled.
No. Don't.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna read it for anybody. I don't think it needs that time of day. But he promises he's gonna come back, and he. It was funny because Brian Alvarez said that he doesn't think that WWE believes these rumors because if they did, he would have been released a lot earlier. Apparently, he's like had a history, especially as of lately, of erratic behavior, like tons of car accidents, like very Shawn Michaels-y. Back when Shawn Michaels was like the Heartbreak Kid. And he said, you know, if they believe those rumors, they would have got him a while ago. And I was like, I don't know about that one, but okay. And then fucking Velveteen Dream's out here saying, like, these guys are the reason that I got fired and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there is nothing like posting your mental breakdown for all the world to fucking see. Good lord. Final piece of news is that there's more NXT call-ups to be had.
Sorry, I just saw a tweet that says that Timothy Chalamet is playing young Willy Wonka in something called Wonka.
I don't want that.
I
don't think we need that.
Is he the new Johnny Depp? Although Timothy Chalamet did not have a movie where he wore a football crop top. So Johnny Depp has that one on him.
Yeah. Timothy Chalamet is still young.
But he's older than when Johnny Depp played that role.
You know.
I believe.
But the last piece of news is just that there's going to be more NXT call-ups to come. Rick Boogs is not the last. He is the first. I'm excited to see how that's going to work out. And I really just want some diversification in the town. I'm so tired.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 We need more women on the roster.
Then, like, I always get into this place where I'm like, don't take the women from NXT, because I like them down there. They're fun down there. Or when you bring them to the main roster, they immediately, like, get this, like, sheen on them where I'm like, ugh. Like, Rhea I used to be in love with, and now I just, like, see Rhea, and I'm like,
Yep. Yep. Where the fuck was Damian Priest today?
He was telling you that they were coming back to live events.
God damn it. All right.
The other talent that they have since buried, I guess.
Can we just do the matches and promos? Get this fucking over with. This train wreck of an episode.
There were like 2 good matches, Mark. Don't forget those.
3. Or 3 good matches.
Alright, hit me.
Alright, so we started with MVP in the ring. He presents Bobby Lashley. Bobbert comes out again with just a bunch of women on his sides. Throw in one man. Just do it.
We just want one scantily clad man.
Not
in
even
addition to all the women.
clad. Bring out like Cedric.
No, I need him to be dressed the same as the rest of the ladies. It's got to be form-fitting. It's got to be glittery. I want maybe nails too.
Jake Atlas.
And I want Bobby to help him into the ring as well as all the other women.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to fucking skip a beat.
Do it, you cowards.
You never will.
MVP, I think after we get a long recap video. I wish I would stop recapping stuff just from last week. Like, if it's from last week, you don't need to recap it. If it's from before that, fine recapping that. But MVP reiterates that they're touring again. Bobby said that he beat Drew twice, once at WrestleMania and once in a triple threat at Backlash. And he doesn't want to see Drew anymore, and nobody else does either. Liz was a huge Drew McIntyre fan, and she doesn't even want to see Drew anymore. No one wants to see Drew at all.
I took some really nice pictures of myself wearing my Claymore Country shirt, and now it's just pain. Also, to be fair, Drew McIntyre fans kind of scare me a little bit. Some of them are really into him.
Any stans are very scary.
And he's got a handful of them. I'm always just like, oh god, you really like him.
MVP said that Kofi shockingly stepped up in the open challenge, and then Drew McIntyre had to step in. Cue Drew McIntyre's music again. Drew walks out. Drew says he wants a one-on-one rematch. I think it was Bobby or MVP said that Bobby wasn't beat by Kofi. He got beat by Drew. Oh, yeah. Bobby said he wasn't beat by Kofi. He got beat by Drew with MVP's cane. And then the New Day walks out. Kofi says that he pinned Bobby Lashley. Drew McIntyre says, "You're welcome." And Kofi says, "Oh, are you insinuating that I needed your help? I don't need your help. I answered the WWE title rematch because I never got mine. So you need to get back in line behind me, Mr. Entitled Pants." Cue Adam Pearce's walkout, which apparently is the Raw theme song. He announced that today, in fact right after this, we would get Kofi Kingston versus Drew McIntyre, where the winner will face Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell. You thought it would be that easy. You were dead wrong. You've never watched Raw before if you thought it was that easy. After that, we get the start of all of the dumb, overly scripted ads for WWE going on the road again. First up, we had Braun Strowman. At a certain point, I just stopped taking notes. I think it was before John Morrison. I stopped taking note of that. But Braun says that he is a conductor of destruction and wants to get back on the road. It's lame as shit. Anyway, we had Bobby.
Be nice. He was having fun with it.
Trying his best. Then we cut to Bobby Lashley and MVP sitting on the ramp with all the women. They have the velvet rope blocking them off from everyone else. So stupid. And then we had Drew McIntyre versus Kofi Kingston. For winner faces Bobby at Hell in a Backlash WrestleMania edition.
Backlash in a cell.
I like to imagine that every pay-per-view this year, just like it adds the previous name to it, like it just compiles all of them. So like we had WrestleMania, then we WrestleMania Backlash, Hell in a Backlash WrestleMania edition, Money in the Cell, Money in the Hell in a Backlash WrestleMania edition. Oh, fucking hell, WWE.
I like doing the podcast because I like talking to people. But then I get to my part of the podcast during Raw podcasts, and I'm like...
I mean, you could just talk about the finish. You could.
Nah.
Let's
get into it.
Do that. Okay.
Drew starts by twisting and mangling Kofi's arm. We get a big shoulder tackle that flattens Kofi. He goes for a back elbow, but Drew catches him, tosses him to the ground. He then lifts Kofi for a stalling suplex, but Kofi gets free. Hits Drew with a single leg drop kick. We get a side Russian leg sweep. Kofi pancakes himself onto Drew. Then there's some chops to Kofi. Drew stomps on Kofi's hand, lifts him. Kofi counters with a head scissors. He then flies out onto Drew, who makes absolutely no attempt to actually catch him, and Kofi kind of glances off his shoulder. Kofi is nearly sent into the stairs, but he avoids it, comes back around over the stairs, gets on Drew's shoulders, and then he is Alabama slammed into the apron. It looked fucking horrible. Then we get a hard snap suplex to Kofi and an overhead toss. Kofi then goes ringside. Drew drops him on the apron. We get back in the ring. Drew stomps Kofi. There's a stalling vertical suplex to Kofi where Drew kind of poses for a second and points to Bobby like, I can also do this. Ha ha ha. Then there's a drop kick off the turnbuckles to Drew, and that's followed up by some chops and another single leg drop kick. Trying to beat a hiccup here. Kofi then goes up and over Drew's shoulders. He gets a guillotine on Drew, but Drew kind of blocks it with a snap suplex. Then there's a double stomp to the chest of Kofi. A double stomp to the chest that sends Drew onto his back. Kofi gets sent into the buckles. He winds himself out, kicks Drew upside the head, goes up top, but waits way too long. Drew meets him up there. Kofi then fights him down, crossbodies Drew. Drew rolls through, driving Kofi down with a Michinoku driver that looks like it almost kills Kofi.
That was gnarly.
It was nasty. There's then a belly-to-back superplex off the top buckle. Kofi rolls Drew up. Drew kicks. Going back around. There we go. Kofi then gets incredibly spine-bustered and then sit-out powerbombed, but he just won't give up. He sidesteps Drew, sending him into the post. He then goes up top and comes down with a frog splash onto McIntyre's back. Kofi then shoves Drew from the ring and out of absolutely nowhere flies out onto him. He takes out Drew. He takes out Bobby, who's also down by ringside. We get an SOS back in the ring, and then Bobby and MVP also get in the ring and attack Drew and Kofi. And it's a DQ.
I just want to quickly bring up, because I forgot to bring this up in the news, but there's some news regarding WWE 2K22. Some tweets from the developer. Patrick Gilmore tweeted, "We have captured over 4,800 new animations so far this year, over 1,000 more than in a typical installment, and we're still going. The new mocap stage is 2 times bigger, which means we can seamlessly capture huge moves full entrances, elaborate cutscenes that move in and out of the ring. And then somebody asked if they can get a hint of what's to come next. And he said, I see a lot of questions about gameplay. We will talk about that soon. Player response has been very good, but be ready for it to be different. And that's the thing that's getting people nervous, is the gameplay being different.
Yeah, that's weird.
But the fact that they have 1,000 more new animations and they're still going, that's awesome. Which means we could see a lot more intricate moves, a lot more finishers, and ideally better promos, because the promos in 2K20 were just a loop of the wrestler in the ring walking back and forth, literally doing the same motion. Alright, but after that match, we then get Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley backstage. Rhea says, good luck in your match, you'll need it. Charlotte says, you're just jealous of me, you want to be just like me. I'm the most decorated and feared woman in WWE. Nikki Cross walks in, she says, actually, I could beat both of you. Both of you against me, let's do it right now. And I said, oh Nikki, you think the writers would want that? And then Charlotte said, you're not worth my time, Nikki. And Rhea said, that's exactly your problem. You talk down to people. I'll be happy to take on Nikki. And then we get an Eva Marie promo again. Same one. Same second one from last week, which was like the Hollywood one. But then we get Rhea Ripley versus Nikki Cross in a 2-minute beat the clock challenge. I haven't seen one of these in a while.
Yeah. Rhea shoves Nikki, slams her face into her knee. Rhea then lifts Nikki and shoves her. Oh, and sorry. So Rhea lifts Nikki. Nikki goes up and over her shoulder. Hits Rhea with a hard forearm, hits her with a jawbreaker. We had a crossbody to Rhea and then some splashes in the corner. Then a dropkick flattens Nikki, and here I am just fucking gripping my seat because like 2 minutes has suddenly felt like 1 hour. She spears Nikki in the corner for a bit, stomps on her, but also ultimately forgets the entire purpose of the match. And the clock handily counts out to 2 without any such attempt at a cover.
They just made it seem like Rhea doesn't know the rules. Like, that's all the finish did.
I think the point was, like, she knows the rules, but she has to find a way to control herself.
The way that she was just, like, taunting Nikki... that's not a face thing to do. Like, accepting the challenge and treating Nikki like an equal, that was a face thing to do. Okay, good. We have a point to base our judgments on. But now we have Rhea repeatedly taunting Nikki, not able to control her aggression. That is a heel move. Which is it? And it's one thing if you're like Charlotte Flair from last year, where it's like kind of fit in between, you're like the gray area. This isn't a gray area. This is flip-flopping back and forth. Anyway, so after that match, which, sorry, but this match, I kind of realized why I didn't like this and why I don't like how they're treating Nikki right now. It very much just feels like a consolation prize, or like a pity prize. Okay, we're sorry we left you off TV for a while. You get this 2-minute match right here.
I think my opinion of this match will depend on how she's booked going forward, if she's booked going forward.
Right, and I feel like that the only thing they would do would be to tie it in with Alexa Bliss. But it doesn't even seem like Alexa Bliss is interested at all based on what we saw today. So, like, what's the end game? Are they going to give her a Raw Women's title shot? Fucking awesome. Do that. Or don't just throw her in a triple threat, which I feel like they're going to do. Throw her in a triple threat just to eat the pin. It's disrespectful. But after that match, we had Damian Priest talking about being on the road again. Then we had Drew McIntyre and Adam Pearce. Kofi runs in. They're all pissed. Adam Pearce says, "I'm just as mad as you guys." So, you know what? We're going to give you a rematch, the same exact thing. But we're going to keep Bobby and MVP away. Then after that, we get Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. Again.
So a waist lock turns into a trip up on Asuka, and then we get kind of like a slow-mo arm drag on Asuka. Charlotte does that fun little thing where she chokes Asuka out with her legs, flips her a few times before kicking her in the... And I don't like saying this because it's crude, but... pretty much kicks her in the vagina. It happened. It wasn't my choice. Asuka slams Charlotte's head into the buckles a couple of times. We get a hip attack. And then another, but Charlotte hits her with a chop block midair. We then get a leg bar over the ropes to Asuka. She gets back in the ring. Or Charlotte gets back in the ring, starts grinding on Asuka's knee, slams it into the mat. Don't bite me. Please. Asuka goes to hip attack Charlotte off the apron, but Charlotte avoids. She slams Asuka knee first into the steel steps. We get a kick to the knee of Asuka before Charlotte starts grinding back on it. Charlotte then sets up for the sharpshooter. But for some reason on Asuka, she never actually goes that deep with it. She never sits down. It's always just a very, like, crouched position. It's very weird to me. Asuka then gets a crazy fucking takedown right into an armbar. Charlotte breaks the hold with a rope break. We then get a knee breaker to Asuka after Charlotte catches her mid-hip attack. She slings Asuka over the top rope, stomps her legs some more, then goes off the ropes with an incredible moonsault, but Asuka avoids. Charlotte lands on her feet, then Asuka German suplexes Charlotte. There's a hip attack to Charlotte, and then we get a back fist and a back heel after a knee to Charlotte's face and another hip attack. Flair then slings Asuka over the top rope. Asuka shoves Charlotte head first into the post and then hits her with a sliding knee. Asuka, we go down to ringside. She is slammed head first into the announce desk. Once we're in the ring again, Asuka counters a big boot to the face with a knee to the face of Charlotte. The logic confused me, but they showed me a slow motion of it, and I understood. There's an armbar, but Charlotte won't let it get locked in. Asuka goes for the Asuka lock, but Charlotte keeps fighting free, even after a second attempt at the Asuka lock. Charlotte fails to get a big boot to the face again, and Asuka avoids it, but Asuka still gets clipped with this big back elbow that looked kind of like Charlotte just lost her balance entirely. There's a backbreaker to Asuka. Charlotte goes for the moonsault again off the top rope. Asuka avoids again, but Charlotte kind of floats through, does a standing moonsault, and then a rapid fire session of grappling breaks out between the two women. Ends up in Charlotte rolling Asuka up and somehow being declared the, major winner of the evening.
Mm-hmm. There's only one of Charlotte's shoulders was down, whereas both of Asuka's shoulders were down. Yeah, a little bit of a messy finish, but it was kind of the believable messy. After that, we had Bobby Lashley and MVP with all the women again. PA walks in and says that Adam Pearce wants to see Bobby and MVP. They begrudgingly go with him. Then we have a promo with Mandy and Dana, again talking about going on the road. This is incredibly scripted. Then we get MVP, Bobby, and Adam Pearce together. Pierce says, "Is this how you want the championship to be?" Bobby said, "I am the only one who can represent Raw right now, unlike Drew and Kofi. I was trying to help you out." Pierce says, "If any of you interfere next week, you'll be suspended for 90 days. Then right after that, we go to Shelton Benjamin versus Cedric Alexander, where Cedric grabs a mic before entering the match. He said, "We had something, right? Raw Tag Team Champs. They kicked us out of the Hurt Business because you're washed up. I'm the one that carried the team. I got years to make up for past mistakes. I'm in my prime. How many years do you have left? A couple weeks ago, that was a fluke win you got. This week is different. I'm an evolving athlete. I learn. You will be gone for good." Amazing pre-match promo from Cedric. Really just gave this match a reason to happen. And then we had this baller match.
The way that Cedric first started out by creeping around the post, you stinky man. So the match starts. Cedric immediately scooches on out of the ring. When we come back from commercial break after that, Shelton Benjamin is giving him a reason to have wanted to get out of the ring by mauling him. We get a shoulder tackle that sends Cedric just spinning out through the air. There's a huge elbow to the face of Cedric. Shelton sends Cedric to the outside and begins attacking him out there. Sends Cedric into the barricade. He then brings Cedric back into the ring. Shelton is nearly sent over the ropes at this point. Cedric wants the neuralizer, but Shelton blocks it, goes for the T-bone. The T-bone suplex. There's a kick upside the head to Benjamin. We go up top, and I don't know why exactly. Cedric ends up over Shelton's shoulders. He fights free, hits Benjamin with a Super Rana, then tries to choke Shelton with his own two hands?
Legit.
Which is definitely not a legal move in the WWE. Last I checked. He hits Shelton with a knee strike and then a drop kick. Shelton flattens Cedric with a knee strike right back. There's a big spinebuster to Cedric. Shelton goes for something, can't get it. Cedric blocks with a roll-up, then cartwheels free once that's broken. We get a spinning back heel to the face of Alexander, and then 2 no-release German suplexes. Can't manage the third. Cedric then skillfully places a thumb directly in the eye of Shelton. Next with the neuralizer. Cedric wins. Good golly, Miss Molly. These two.
Oh yeah. After that, though, we immediately get another great match. Riddle versus Xavier Woods. Nothing in between.
It really backed it up a little bit.
We legit had, I know you don't want to talk about one of them, but we legit had 4 matches in a row with no promos in between. Like it was AEW Dark or something.
After drinking Prosecco for most of the day, or for most of the time I've been drinking an IPA feels like somebody just shoved a knife in your mouth. Less. So Xavier gets slammed into the buckles basically so hard that we can all hear it, and I think it was so loud that Adnan, Corey, Byron all just kind of lost their train of thought for a second because the commentary was weird as shit.
It was so loud because the mic for his trombone was right there, and he knocked it off when he hit the buckle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That would explain that. Xavier then goes for a double leg sweep into a guillotine from Riddle. This transitions into a triangle hold. We get a gut wrench suplex to Xavier and then a vertical suplex to Riddle. Woods then is pulled into an armbar and fucking. So Riddle gets free and then launches himself at Xavier, who grabs him by the neck, basically, with his arm, and, like, suplexes him?
This was insane. Like, oh my god, what a great suplex.
You grab a man by the literal neck when he's upside down. Confusing. Riddle's then sent spine first into the edge of the apron. Looks like he's basically seen God. There's a suplex to Woods and a failed PK and a failed moonsault and then a senton onto the knees of Woods. Still hate this combination. Like, I don't know why the failed PK and the failed moonsault are, like, a thing for him now, but it's like, well, just stop doing it. He does this every match.
And I don't know, it's like, if you're a fighter, you've got the stuff that you do best. And when it hits, it really hits.
But doesn't it annoy you when Drew constantly fails to do the Future Shock DDT?
Yeah.
And this is that.
It's more so with, like, the writing, or, like, the choreography of the match, because it's like, if it's gonna fail, at least have it fail because of a counter or something. You know?
But that's the thing, is that, like, these never have, like, any real counters. It's just, like, somebody moves out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so silly. It's like, why... If every single person you're wrestling does this, maybe it's just time to stop doing them all at the same time. Yeah.
You want to go tell them that yourself?
I don't want to go anywhere near that little gremlin.
Okay.
So Woods starts chopping the shit out of Riddle. He gets there's a flying head scissors onto Xavier. Riddle is sent head over heels. We get a drop kick with some flair at the end of it from Woods and a nice little kip up. We then get a ripcord knee to the face of Xavier and a failed Bro Derek. Xavier counters, Riddle had Xavier in position for the Bro Derek and then had to bridge backwards, and we kept getting this over and over. Just these men bridging over each other.
I really liked this bit, because it was just, like, constant overpowering. It was well done.
Xavier then gets the better of it, hangs Riddle up on the top buckles. There's a gut check to the midsection of Riddle from over Xavier's shoulders. They start fighting on the apron for... Xavier's on the apron fighting. He's fighting Riddle, who's in the ring. There's a big suplex to Woods over the ropes, high up on his shoulders. We get a floating bro, but no one's home, and then there's an elbow to the face, and Matt Riddle says, "That's enough of that." Fucking RKO's Xavier Woods to win.
And that's, like, the perfect finisher, because it's like, yep, you're a heel now. You've been learning from Randy. There it is. It's a subtle way to tell a storyline. Love it. Alright, and then after that, AJ did some shit, and then we had Sheamus versus Umberto Carrillo.
Good to see him fighting. Good to see him, like, not injured.
Carrillo, yeah.
So Sheamus tosses Umberto from the ring before raining a couple of fists down onto him. There's a short arm clothesline to Umberto, and then, like, a vertical suplex, sort of. Not like vertical suplex fall backwards, it's more vertical base, and then sham forward. Didn't know how to describe that.
Mm-hmm.
We get some forearms from Umberto to Sheamus. But Sheamus stops that with a shoulder tackle. Umberto then slaps Mr. Sheamus in the literal fucking face. There's a knee under the jaw and a drop kick to the face of Sheamus. Umberto dives out onto Sheamus and nearly kills himself as well as Sheamus at the same time. Then we get back in the ring and it looks like he's taken a page out of fucking Cesaro's book. Because we kind of got like a flying corkscrew uppercut, but instead this was like a flying corkscrew back elbow. Off the top ropes. Sheamus then somehow manages to roll Umberto up and win. but by means of cheating, which it was explained later on, because he grabbed the pants of Umberto. And then Ricochet comes up out of nowhere and flies down onto Sheamus, and then he and Umberto do some moonsaults onto Sheamus, and Ricochet does a 450.
It'd be really cool if they made Umberto and Ricochet into a tag team. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd
be really cool.
Real quick, there's an article from Fightful regarding Finn Balor. He said regarding the demon character that there's still Finn said that there's still life left in the demon. So we could be seeing the demon sometime soon. He said there's life left in the demon character, but right now I'm happy being the prince, and I feel like this is my most true self in my WWE tenure. So it's possible. Not gonna happen anytime soon, but it's safe to say that if he were to return as the demon, he wouldn't be unhappy. But after that match, we had 2 promos. We had an interview with Nia and Sheena. Nia said it was a fluke last week. We'll get him this time. Reginald was blinded. And then Sheena says, you got distracted again last week to Reginald. We were an unstoppable force until you got distracted. Let's prove it. Just me and you, Nia, in this match. How dare Shayna say that when she has been the one consistently getting distracted, whether it's by Reginald. Yes, Reginald has been distracting, but Shayna's been the one getting distracted. Whether it's by Reginald or something else. I was so excited to not see Reginald at all.
I know.
But after this, we had yet another Eva Marie promo. It's her wanting to be a good example to the youngins, to the kids, be a role model. That's the only line I could pick out from this promo that actually meant anything. She wants to be, she wants to be a cheerleader? I don't know. I hope all these promos is just for her to be like, I'm going to train people at the Performance Center.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, like, I don't know. She's not saying anything. Like, words are coming out of her mouth, sentences are being formed, but those sentences don't connect in any way. Like, no message, no theme is coming out with these words. Nothing. Besides role model and hero. That's all she wants to be.
It makes me feel like she's coming back as a manager.
Yeah.
But I don't think she is.
Like she's not setting a tone at all. There's no tone. There's no like hints at her character besides role model, but that's taken. That's done already. Like it annoys me so much. We could have, as much as I hate to say this, not because of her, but we could have Peyton Royce instead. Like, imagine if we had Peyton. Peyton's fantastic. I love her.
I know.
I listened to their podcast yesterday.
Oh.
It was actually pretty great. They just need to fix their audio setup and it'll be perfect. Oh my god. Of course she goes to Raw too, just to like
Maybe it'll be worth it.
Maybe. I'm holding out hope. Like, my expectations are very low. I want her to exceed my expectations. I don't like being let down. But I don't know. These promos are not hopeful. And then to top off the night, we had Natty and Tamina versus Shane and Nia for the women's tag team titles. Oh my god.
So we start with Nia versus Tamina. But Nia tags out. And Shayna gets in. In the middle of trying to fight Tamina, Shayna kind of bops Natty a bit, so Natty gets herself in. We get a head scissors submission on Shayna. Shayna then breaks Natty, or starts breaking Natty's wrists. We get a suplex to Shayna and a shoulder tackle to Natty. Natalya then wants the knee bar, but Shayna refuses to let it get locked in. She kicks at Natty, brings her into a sharpshooter. Then, when that doesn't work, she ends up doing that thing where she falls with Natalya's arm in hand. Nia gets in. There's a leg drop to Natalya. Shayna gets back in. She wants the elbow stomp. Did I fuck this up? No, I didn't. I probably did, but I didn't. She wants the elbow stomp, and Reggie comes out and causes Shayna to miss said elbow stomp. There's a German suplex to Shayna from Natty. Natalya then hits a high angle body slam to Shayna. We get Nia and Tamina in. Tamina gets all up in that shit with some fists to the head of Nia. There's an uppercut to Nia. She runs at Nia and is caught but slides down her back. It's like one of the only people that was able to like do that thing where you slide down the person's back and like kind of like push them down from their legs. We've never seen someone do that with Nia before.
Yeah.
There's a super kick under the jaw to Nia, and then Tamina goes up top. Nia grabs her off the buckles. Shayna gets in, sort of beats on Tamina for a bit. Nia gets in, does the same thing. Shayna gets back in. She covers after punching the shit out of Tamina. It's distracted, so Tamina takes advantage of it. It's Nia. Sends a fist to the face of Shayna, and then there's a power slam. Nothing better than a woman doing a power slam. Let me just say that now. Then there's a slingshot super kick to Shayna, and Nia breaks the cover. Nia and Tamina just start beating each other up ringside for no good reason. Natalya dodges Baszler. Natalya's also the legal man for their team now. She dodges Baszler, sends her knee first into the buckles. Natalya then goes for the sharpshooter, but Reginald distracts, and Shayna ends up using this distraction as a good time to roll Natalya up, but the ref doesn't see it. So Shayna gets really fucking mad and kicks Reginald out, and then the pyro goes off as he's walking up the ramp. And Natalya rolls Shayna up to win. And then Shayna goes and checks on Reginald, and I was like, this isn't right. We shouldn't be doing this. And then she yells at him and tells him to fight her next week, and I said, Gabe?
I think my problem with the whole Alexa Bliss thing right now is just like, it's not even Alexa Bliss. Like, it's not. My problem right now isn't with her at all. My problem, whenever she has moments like this with the pyro, even with Randy spitting up black sludge, it's so undersold. Mm-hmm. Nobody looks at it. Nobody.
Like, Reginald got fucking blinded, and Shayna just like looked back, was like, and then got fucking rolled up by Natalya.
And
the ref even was just like,
yeah, like the ref doesn't care. None of the wrestlers care besides Shayna. Like, at least, like, this should be a moment for everyone to look in awe. Because it is fucking crazy what's going on. And like, you have that moment where they look, and the decision maker is just Natty snaps out of it sooner. Not that she doesn't get distracted, but that she is quicker to come back, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you need a moment. You gotta sit with it. Sit with the pyro. Sit with the supernatural element, because it doesn't happen very much. Commentators know it exists. Shayna saw it. It's just like you would think that they would give some kind of attention to detail here. Like the match with fucking Randy and Triple H, that was great. Because Triple H's sledgehammer lit on fire, and he just like stared at it. That was that moment of awe, that moment to sit for just a couple seconds. And you don't have that very much anymore. Like when AJ took out Randy was spitting up black sludge. AJ just gave him the phenomenal forearm, and that was it. There was no moment of just, what the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, I don't know if Omos was there for that match, but not even like a reaction shot from him at all.
Yeah. I know. I get it. And that was the thing that we were making fun of it today, because, like, Reginald's out here getting, like, burnt up, and nobody really seemed to give a shit.
And Shayna's like, this is your fault. I'm gonna fight you next week. Like, what? Yeah. What did he do? Like,
it works for her character for sure, but, like, at the same time, it's like, so we aren't gonna talk about it, though? Like,
yeah, like, I
get have, like, a little conversation?
I get you're mad at him for coming out when you told him not to, but it's like, he was almost burnt up by faulty pyro. At least show something. Nia should run over. Nia should have been the one to run over, check on him, then Shayna angrily comes in and says, you've been distracting me this entire time, blah, blah, blah. And it's not like Nia was too busy selling a move or something. She hadn't taken a move. She sent Tamina over the barrier and then she was out. Like, I know if this was happening on SmackDown, there would be that attention to detail. There would be that thought process. There's no thought process here.
For NXT.
NXT, yeah. But I'm trying to not always just compare to NXT. I'm trying to actually give, like, SmackDown some time in the sun. Because otherwise, like, those big moments just don't hit. They don't. That was an angry couple cats. Oh my god. Some cats are fighting outside. Oh my god.
Like, want to open the window and be like, can you guys stop?
It's like Pizza's out there with them.
Dude, Pizza's probably in here, like, hearing them, like, swear in cat language, and she's just like...
But Sean Ross Sapp said it well. This was not a main event segment. At all.
No.
I mean, if we're talking quality of match, Cedric and Shelton, or Riddle and Xavier, but if we're talking, like, main event hype, Kofi and Drew. Put that as the main event. Have the DQ happen. Adam Pearce comes out and says, no, that's not how we're gonna do things. You know?
Yeah. I know.
Like, everything's there. Everything is there. They just don't care.
I know. And Raw just seems to be like this place where they just kind of throw shit. Hi. I'm sorry you had to hear that.
Alright, so you want to get into the bests of the night?
Yes.
Somehow.
A very perturbed kitten in here.
I have no clue what I'm gonna pick for wrestler of the night, but I'm pretty set on match of the night. But starting with promo of the night, will you get the sign set up?
No, don't bite me.
I don't think you... Okay, you do have the sign. So we started with MVP in the ring, and Bobby, and Drew, and Kofi, and all that stuff to start off. Them arguing, and then Adam Pearce announces the match. Nothing in this segment did it for me. Nothing at all. Like every time MVP and Bobby would come out, I'd be like, yes, we're getting the Hurt Business. We're getting a great-ass promo. It's like every time Roman and Paul come out, it's like, yes, great promo, here we come. Even if it's the same shit, it's the same good thing. This is just it was a step down. It really was. Once Drew came out. Then we had Charlotte and Rhea backstage where we see Nikki Cross. That was great. Seeing Nikki Cross again, actually in a match capacity, fighting the Raw Women's Champion. That was good.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty big step.
Yeah. And I did really like the line from Rhea where she kind of just called out Charlotte on her shit and was like, this is why nobody likes you. You talk down to people. It felt less like a scripted segment, more of like a natural call out.
Yeah.
Then we had Drew, Kofi, and Pierce. I mean, that was fine. Bobby and MVP being called to go see Adam Pearce. That was MVP Bobby and Adam Pearce. That was fine. Cedric getting on the mic. This was great. This was great. Cedric is main event material. Shelton too. Like this should have been this should be a main event storyline, but it's not. This was great. This whole promo Cedric just threw together.
You might regret saying this, but I wouldn't mind seeing this match a couple more times.
I wouldn't mind seeing this one more time as like a steel cage match or like some kind of stipulation. Something to spice it up.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. After that, we had the interview with Shayna and Nia. That was just... It didn't make sense. Everything Shayna was saying. And then we had the new Eva Marie segment, which is a whole lot of nothing. So, I'm giving this to Cedric. I'm giving promo of the night to Cedric just railing into Shelton.
And I have to agree with you. I was going to say, if you didn't give it to that, I was confused what you would be giving it to.
Yeah, Cedric fucking, he goes off. He really does. He puts his all into it.
He does a great job. It's funny because his voice gets goofy on the mic, but like he's really good.
Yeah, it's like it gets goofy because he has that intensity. If it was goofy without that passion, it would be laughable, but he's got all the passion. Alright, so Wrestler of the Night now. We started off with Drew vs. Kofi. I picked Kofi. I don't remember why I picked Kofi. I think Drew just makes me mad now, so I can't pick him at all.
It's understandable.
Then we had Nikki versus Rhea. Rhea just annoyed me in this match. I think at this point it's just whoever doesn't annoy me. Rhea's suddenly forgetting how the rules work. It was so dumb. I can't pick her. Then we had Charlotte Flair versus Asuka. I'm actually gonna go with Charlotte. Charlotte was really good. Her moveset has gotten really fun. Like the way that she was just like kind of clumsily making some moves, it fits with her character. The fact that she's like so like she is desperate for this and getting sloppy with her moves. It's well done. I don't know if it's intentional, but it comes off that way. And then how she just gets really angry in a match. It works. It really works. Then we had Shelton versus Cedric. I gotta go with Cedric. Cedric brings the heat in these matches. He brings the heat. He brings the intensity. And he's just he came up in that 205 live class that became so good at selling stuff. Him, Ricochet, Murphy, Mustafa, they all got so good at selling. Then we had Riddle versus Xavier Woods. I'm going with Xavier. Xavier was fucking brutal. This match was brutal. Like that suplex that he nailed. That suplex from Riddle that he just was able to correct like just in time. Xavier is an incredible wrestler and he brings it every match. And this one really proved it. He also had that added like intensity in his eyes. He is such a good wrestler.
Really is.
Then we had Umberto versus Sheamus. I'm gonna go with Umberto. I didn't see Sheamus do that much, to be honest. I just saw Umberto flying around, and suddenly Sheamus won. I don't know what happened. Then lastly we had Natty and Tamina versus Shayna and Nia. I'm going with Natty. Natty is she really brings the like the added technical wrestling along with the heat. She's good with her character work, like really good with it. And she's also gotten a lot better with her wrestling lately.
The two of them together, at first it felt like they were just like, oh, we need to shove two women together for another tag team.
Let's be honest, it was.
They feed off of each other so well. I think it's a really good thing for them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But we can't deny that it was definitely just a throw together team. Alright, so my pick for Wrestler of the Night. I'm gonna go with Xavier Woods. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to Xavier and Cedric. And yeah. Xavier did more impressive stuff than Cedric. Cedric brought more heat, though.
I will give it to you.
Cool. All right, a match of the night. I already know my pick. I'm sure you do too.
The cat is like prowling right now.
Oh, she doesn't want to get into a fight.
She's like, there's somebody nearby fighting.
All right, so we start off with Drew versus Kofi. Was gonna be a great match, and then Bobby and MVP decided to run in for some reason that they lazily justified later in the episode. Then we had Nikki versus Rhea. At least give her a 5-minute match. Like, come on. This just felt disrespectful. Then we had Charlotte versus Asuka. It was a really good match. The finish just felt like it wasn't how it shouldn't have gone. Like, Asuka should have won this. Let's be honest.
And for it to be a match where the winner, without anybody knowing at the time, as far as viewers, for the winner to be the person that fights Rhea at Hell in a Cell, it's like, Asuka won last week. Why are we having this match again?
Yeah, I thought that was the stipulation last week, was the winner, or if Charlotte loses, she doesn't go to Hell in a Cell.
It felt so stupid and so disrespectful to Asuka, because it's like, so she won last week, and for what?
Doesn't matter. I want to see a different match. Okay, was fine. We haven't seen really Rhea versus Charlotte yet in a singles match since WrestleMania last year. So it'll be a good match. But I just can't stand Charlotte right now. Oh, look at her.
The little princess.
After that, we had Cedric Alexander versus Shelton Benjamin. What was it this match needed to be really good? Just a little grab of the mic right beforehand. That was all it needed to just flip the switch. Sure, you could argue like months of tag teaming. But I mean,
I think, like, I'm mad that this match wasn't longer.
Right, but we're probably gonna get a third one. When I think about like what it takes for a good match, you don't need that long, like you don't need like that long-term booking. Um, that was the arm of my chair.
Oh.
Um, like you can always reference stuff that was like done and gone. For example, it's my go-to feud for his title reign, but Drew and Dolph. That match at Extreme Rules was fantastic. And the only backstory we had between these two and their relationship was Dolph explaining, like, we didn't even get any video packages of the two of them together back in Drew's Scottish Psychopath days. We just had Dolph saying that Drew owed him, that Drew is where he is now because of Dolph. That was all you needed. That was it. And then this match was fantastic. The wrestling was great. The story behind it was great. Everything. Everything. Then we had Xavier Woods versus Riddle. Such a good match. This was so good. Felt a little cobbled together, but when the match actually happened, they killed it. They really killed it. And then that RKO at the end, just to solidify like where we're going from here, was great. Great storytelling. And then we had Sheamus versus Umberto Carrillo. Super fast match. There's no reason for this match to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you basically accomplished the same as Sheamus injuring Umberto so bad that he had to forfeit the match. It's the same outcome. This one is more brutal than the other. And then lastly, we had Natty and Tamina versus Shayna and Nia. Could have been good. It's just fine. Because the Reginald, Pyro, all that stuff made it just fine. So, my pick for match of the night, Cedric and Shelton.
Yep. I have to agree with you.
Cedric's promo beforehand literally put this one over the line. If he didn't have that promo beforehand, easily would have gone to Riddle and Xavier. But Cedric saying what he had to say beforehand made all the difference.
I agree.
All right, so you want to do a little Q&A? We have a question on the YouTube, on a YouTube video from Raw last week.
Okay.
And if anyone has any questions they want to leave us, please put it in the chat. If you're watching live, if you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments. We'll answer it in the next video, depending on when the comments are left. So, Milam said on YouTube, you guys have such a unique experience as fans who really came into your fandom through the pandemic era. Is there something from the pandemic era you'd like to see continue when fans come back? This is easy for me. Cinematic matches.
I was gonna say the same thing.
After the greatest of all time, Bray Wyatt and John Cena cinematic match, you can't not. You can't get rid of it. After the Money in the Bank WWE headquarters match, so good. And then AEW brings along with the crowd. They had a crowd when they played this. The Sting and Darby Allin versus Team Taz match. That was fantastic. I don't think this is a great match, but the Boneyard Brawl, or what's it called? Boneyard. What was it? Boneyard Bash. Back at the Boneyard. Boneyard, was it Boneyard Brawl? A Boneyard match. It was just a Boneyard match. Between Taker and AJ. That's gone down as a great match.
I think you're thinking of Backlot Brawl.
Yeah, probably. Or Backstage Brawl. You can't not have them anymore. They do so much for a storyline. Especially John Cena and Bray Wyatt. That was perfect. Alright, so we also have a question from Miriam. Who do you guys think will be the first to challenge Bronson for the title? I think it's gonna be one of the smaller guys. I think
Tyler Rust.
Tyler Rust.
I feel like the next match is probably going to be Johnny trying to rematch.
There is, well, yeah, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
That was a very definitive ending. Like Johnny, even with help, couldn't beat Bronson. He's gonna go after Carrion next, most likely, or Dexter Lumis. That's very much in the cards. I think there's a very clear storyline for Malcolm Bivens to come in and be like, "Hey, Bronson, you want it? You wanna go?" I could also see Bronson declaring an open challenge, saying he wants to be a fighting champ. Cue Jake Atlas, their go-to open challenge guy. Santos could also throw his hat in the ring. Although we might wait a little bit, so I don't think he'll be the first.
To be fair, I just saw it was an older tweet, but I remember seeing a Tyler Rust tweet where he said something along the lines of like how he was going to be the next North American champion. So I'm going to put my cards in that hat. Mostly out of bias, but
if we're talking the first feud for that title, it's LA Knight. All the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would say Cameron Grimes, but he's busy with Ted DiBiase right now.
No. Just really wanted to be Tyler Rust.
Tyler will probably be the first match.
Fine. Honestly, if it means we get to see him again, fine.
I could see him putting up a great showing, then move him to the cruiserweight title. Challenge Kushida.
Ooh, Russ versus Kushida would be swaggy.
Yeah.
Incredibly swaggy.
But the fact that they have a card including Karrion and Finn, and I think they also have Candice and Indy defending. They have a rematch against Shotzi Number tomorrow. Oh wait, no, we have Shotzi and Ember versus Dakota and Raquel for the #1 contender for the title.
Right.
That's also happening. So I don't think they would throw in an open challenge for that title in that massive card as it is.
But I think we'll get like a promo or something.
Yeah, definitely a promo. Probably LA Knight throwing his hat in the ring. We also have Taya Valkyrie's first match. Frankie Monet. Trying to think. Raquel doesn't have anything besides the tag match. So I'm gonna say LA Knight. LA Knight's gonna be the first to challenge.
I'm gonna stick with my original gut feeling.
There's also Swerve.
True. True.
Yeah. Although, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough to say. I definitely think it's LA Knight though.
Okay.
Alright, so that's all the
Sweet.
questions for now. Liz, would you like to close out the show?
Please. If you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. If you tuned in into the future, thank you so much. Happy Memorial Day. Please tune in tomorrow night, where I will probably be slightly more awake than I am currently. Okay. Cat just went from being on her side to just sprawling out with her belly up. I wanna.
Can I close out the show now, or do you still
Yeah,
have
hang
more?
on. So please tune in tomorrow night. We will be talking about NXT. It'll be really fun. Maybe we'll have an answer to the question of who's going to be the next challenger. Hopefully we will. Hopefully I win. Yes, thank you.
We should mention, because we haven't yet, there will be no SmackDown podcast this week.
That's for real.
Yeah. We are both going to be out of town. So no Friday Night SmackDown. We won't even be watching Friday Night SmackDown.
Seriously, this time we will be out of town.
Yeah.
For real, for real.
If you guys want us to, we can maybe try and watch it on Wednesday next week and then do an impromptu podcast, but that's only if y'all want to, if there's a demand. But we'll definitely catch up sometime during the week. But yeah, no podcast this Friday. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Follow, subscribe, all that jazz. Our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, check out the live show, twitch.tv/the Pinfall Podcast. Our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast, as you can see down below. My Twitter is at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine 23. We'll be live once again tomorrow for NXT. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you then.